And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Dr. Angelo Markantonakis. Next Step Leadership CEO, Dr. Angelo Markantonakis, is a product of the Syracuse City School District and a first-generation college graduate who began his journey with education at St. Lawrence University as a higher education opportunity program student. His master's degree is in education with a concentration in adult education from Elmira College. He holds a doctorate in higher education executive leadership from Wingate University, North Carolina. Angelo became a dean of academic affairs at 30, which sparked a personal journey of observing, perfecting, and documenting best practices in leadership development, individual professional growth, social dynamics at work, and organizational change management. These experiences are neatly compiled in his first leadership workbook, Lessons in Leadership, Volume 1. And by the way, there's also now a Volume 2. Dr. Mark,
I didn't even pay her to say that.
I know. Dr. Markantonakis is the Associate Vice President of Academic Affairs for Rowan-Cabarrus Community College. And so now I am so happy to let Dr. Markantonakis take over from here and stop my sharing. Hi, Doctor.
Good morning. Well, yeah, it's listening to it. I can't even believe it's me. It's like an out of body. Thank you so much, Evie. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. Sneak peek, like I said before, please go ahead and download the presentation. It does have some cool recipes attached to it that are kind of, they're for some, especially our student population, I would say you could see them as an opportunity to be survival recipes as well. Today, I'm going to do some topic framing. What you will see today is before each recipe is another topic frame that we're going to be going into. So today, I'm going to talk about my personal journey with food, what that means to me, what that looks like as a young man growing up in the inner city of Syracuse. And then going to work through the significance of food on our students, faculty, and staff, believe it or not, and using a couple different splices. So the international student as a splice, as well as locally here in Kannapolis City Schools. And then lastly, the last frame will be thoughts on what leaders in education could be doing or should be doing. Along the way, I will be asking different questions and working toward having you respond in the Q&A. Jivi is my wingman today with some of that as we start to look at different opportunities to give away free stuff as well. So I'm excited about today, and I can't believe I get to do this. So here we go. It didn't do it the way I wanted to. Icebreaker, first one up. What was the last food item that you tried stepping out of your personal food comfort zone? Go ahead and throw some answers in the Q&A. For me, I will give you the reasoning for liver mush. Never heard of it, never knew of it till about 4 or 5 years ago, and I still wasn't brave enough to give it a try because I just didn't know what I was getting into. But then as I continue my own food and health and lifestyle journey, the realization was, wow, it is full of vitamin B, iron, and a whole bunch of different nutrients. Let me give it a shot. Personally, kind of like a soft sausage patty. It was just a different texture for me. It was a different texture. In the Q&A, what do we got? What are
all right, in the Q&A, we have Peruvian food, Brussels sprouts. Oh yeah, it took me a long time to eat those, and I only eat them raw. That's it.
Most people just eat them deep fried, right? Like deep fry them or
no. Cajun chicken, tortugas. I don't know. Sorry, Monica. I probably pronounced that completely wrong. Fried oysters, tripe, pickled okra, escargot, goat cheese pizza with balsamic glaze, deep fried crickets, golden
Wow.
beets with brown sugar, crocodile. Someone spent 10 days in India, only authentic and primary family prepared foods for the duration. And then, okay, so I'm gonna, I guess Mavi, which is a fermented drink from the PR.
Wow. Okay. I heard tripe in there. That's impressive. That's a lot of
That
change.
is.
And just looking at that type of range, have any of those immediately, Jivy, for you, just made you go, oh, I don't know if I could do that.
Tripe is
Uh,
the one I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be trying that one.
so exactly. But that is just an idea here of what we're going to be looking at. Um, and what we're going to be covering for the cultural background. So what we have here, these I'm going to call them my niece Audrey. Shout out to Audrey. She called them gems. But these are some childhood pics from my growing up. As you can see on the far left here with my dad, a velour suit I'm in with mom. She always loved me in some type of collared shirt. Odd ones for that. I think there was many times that there was a Hawaiian one or different ones for that picture going.
Angela, we can't see your PowerPoint.
You can't see the PowerPoint
Uh-uh.
at all. Oh, well,
Nope.
that's not going to help. Hmm. I wonder what I pressed. It might help. Am I screen sharing?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, it looks like you've disabled it.
Oh, there you go. Hold on. There you go.
You see it now?
You're the host now.
Okay.
Let's try.
So here we go, right? So the first one here, this is what I was trying to cover. You can see me in the velour suits down below.
We still can't see you. I mean, we still can't see the slide.
No? Oh, boy.
Hold on. Let me see if I can fix something. Are you the host now?
I don't know.
There you go. Got it.
Yeah, there's the green. That might have helped. There we go. Hi. We know what we're doing. We swear. So what we have here is my familial cultural upbringing. What I wanted to do is take some quick snapshots of it. We have me with my dad in a very interesting velour suit down below. Me in the middle with my mom, going back to those very odd collared shirts, and then me and my mom at the end. But what I'm doing here is illustrating, when you look at this pic, we're at Sylvan Beach in the early 2000s. She has that large popcorn. So there's always a snack involved. And what do you do with popcorn, right? It usually has the butter, it has the salt, it has all those things that are allowable to look at that way. So what happened in this, in going back in the time capsule, looking at pictures of yourself as you start to grow up, you start to see different things. Metaphorically, what I'm going to do now is take you on a journey of what I see as representation of what food meant to me. And you do have to look at yourself metaphorically naked in the mirror and understand what that looks like to be a part of your history and your context. My dad, Vasilios. The two words that I would use to explain my father were hard-nosed, mountain life. He grew up immediately doing work. He was a sheep herder and a goat herder. He slept on rocks in the middle of the mountains of Crete. There was countless stories of him waking up with a snake right next to either his feet or his head, also just gaining his body heat as he was sleeping in the middle of the night. He would set snare traps to hunt for rabbits in the middle of the mountains. He was the local butcher. As I was growing up in Greece, we worked on an olive farm, and our family were the local butchers in two different areas, and people would send and bring food, bring animals to my father for holidays, and we were always busy regardless. He was also a part of a situation at the end of a Turkish-German alliance, where the soldiers were coming through the mountains and, removing people from the mountains and doing things of that nature. My grandfather was one of those individuals, and it left my father and his siblings just kind of roaming the mountains of Greece. So they would eat dandelions. They would put mini tiny pebbles with lemon and oil, if they had it, into a big pot and make a form of greens with oil and lemon to cover, and just try to have some sustenance with one egg between 6 or 7 people. And he grew up very poor, very hungry, and literally foraging for food and to keep his sustenance as he was taking on his role, and also a caretaker for some of his family. My mom, Barbara, the description of my mom would be a supremely selfless, caring, loving woman. In the very early stages of her life, she was the older sister and a caretaker with her younger sister that were sent to a group home due to family circumstance. And they grew up in a group home setting through, something similar to the Catholic Charities. And her upbringing was poor, hungry, supremely rationed and or controlled food within a group home setting. So paint the picture of being 4 or 5 years older as a sister and taking care of a younger sister on top of the capabilities of living in those conditions and being the caretaker at such a young age. She also spent years and had a magnificent career working for Jobs Plus, serving these citizens on public assistance for Onondaga Community College in the city of Syracuse. So she spent a long time being supremely loving and caring to many people, but grew up very much hungry. Well, what does that mean? Can you see these pictures, Jimmy? What we have here are the gatherings or the examples of what holidays at Yayan Papu's house would look like. Now remember, Mom, Catholic Charities, group home setting, Dad, mountains of Greece, running around foraging. Their idea of a holiday, their idea of a family gathering would be 40 to 50 people. They would set up 40 to 50 people would come through the house, and we would eat in waves. The significance of the pictures that you're seeing today are that there was only 4 people that my mom had decided to cook for in the 2 pictures on the left and the right. And in the middle, it was the picture that best illustrated what my mom was like and what the prep would look like. So I think we're a little bit more spoiled these days, but you could buy pre-cut celery, pre-cut onions, pre-cut varieties of vegetables that you would need to make a stock or to stuff a turkey or do some of those things. The menu of a family gathering. That's why it was so important to ask that question as the icebreaker, because it allows for this type of conversation. The menu: leg of lamb, lasagna, turkey, ham, stuffing, candied yams, rolls, deviled eggs, all kinds of different things. So as you can see from the table setting here, we have a full-blown lasagna, a pot of mashed potatoes, and 400 rolls, enough to take out an army and make them full. But this was for 5 people. There she is in her most comfortable setting. That is, at the time, my 4-year-old son, Angelo Vasilios. He is basting. He's got his basting game going with Yaya at the table there as they do some of that. Question and answer. Now I'm going to shift to me. Describe to me in the Q&A, what does lunch with friends look like for you? Please take a couple minutes or a couple seconds here and type in the Q&A. And Jivy, if you can, please tell me what you see.
So far, we got laughter and fun, going out, 2 or 3
Good.
friends sitting down at a restaurant.
Going out, good conversation. So that's it, right? So the gathering is about the identity of the place. All right, we're going to Applebee's, right? Or wherever it might be, and what the catch-up would look like at lunch with friends. Next up, what does the food look like? What do you order first, right? So the waitress comes, what do you order first?
Drinks, hold on, they're coming in fast. Main meal,
Cocktails are flowing according to Adrian. I see that. Okay.
Yep. Chips and salsa, bread, appetizers.
Okay. So appetizers start the table, start the run. When you're 24, 25, a lot of your friends don't have money for appetizers, right? So there might be a water with lemon. There might be a beer, or a Pepsi, or a Dr. Pepper. And along the way, you start to understand. So we have appetizers. Entrees would be up next. By then, is it light? Is it not light? I personally, with my upbringing, would order the Dr. Pepper, the mozzarella sticks, or the big appetizer, the entree, and then potentially dessert. And those are the moments and times where I realized that my upbringing was way different than my peers and then the people that I work closely with and what they did. And it changed the way that I looked at food and how I treated food when it came to those types of conversations. So I want you to think about that and what that would look like for someone as they become 30, 40. For me, it turned into a very destructive path. And what I mean by that is I looked at food differently. Growing up with full stocked pantries, food meant safety. Food meant security. Food meant I was being loved. Here, eat. Until this day, I'm very guilty of when I'm stressed. What do? I cook. When I feel like I put myself in a situation where I need to apologize, I might make cupcakes. But along the way, because of the upbringings that I was used to, of scarcity, foraging, and controlled, there would be times where my father would make 2 plates at the table for no reason, and he wouldn't even eat the second plate. He wanted to have the second plate. So it ended up that I hit ground zero, and that's that's probably the 3rd month in when I was first working at Rowan-Cabarrus Community College. I was teetering on 581 pounds at that time, and had a lot of health concerns and things that needed to be done. Along the way, educating myself, learning how to deal with this type of growth and what it would look like, the journey of what a healthy lifestyle or a lifestyle with food looks like. So what you do is you find out it's a process. It is day by day. It is a process. And the best thing that you can do is to share and be human. The other pieces and points of today's conversation are to let people know that if they're looking at food, if they're working through food, if they're going to be very short on food, the holiday season, you are not alone. Everybody's on a different lifestyle journey, and you're not alone on an island. And that's a big piece of what's important to have in this conversation with everybody today. So it leaves us with an understanding of my identity with food came from parts of my upbringing. Rich with love sincerely meant rich with food. Okay, sneak peek, first recipe. Next up, we will be talking about students, faculty, and staff within food. But first up here, 3-ingredient pancakes, right? You can make roughly 4 pancakes if you take some ripe bananas, cinnamon, and 2 eggs, believe it or not, as the binding agent. And some will use the cooking spray or the butter, and that's fine. But this is actual recipe that I've tried. It is successful, and it is very quick, down and dirty, and easy. And I wanted to share because some of these do become survival recipes as you start to find things around the house. So what we're noticing and why food? Well, for me, it was my personal background and what that meant. But then when you start to dig in, it does leave me very much understanding that our community, our review and look at education and academic setting also can implicate and imply a lot of different things with food. I'm going to talk about a couple different splices here today. The first one being an international student. Looking at the statistic here from 7 years ago, there were 4.3 million international students studying worldwide and attending different schools all over the world. They come from a wide variety of backgrounds, and what they're doing and how they're looking at food consumption across universities, across college settings, is really starting to take notice. Here locally, we are in the process of some very different things with food and how we look at serving our student population. And that's the other part of this, our local landscape. Here, I will use Kannapolis City Schools as the option because it is in the middle of Rowan and Cabarrus County. We currently have, as of statistics yesterday, there's a 38% Hispanic population, a 26.4 Black population, and a 26.3 white population, and 8% other. And I will also say that statistically, it is one of the only high schools in the country where students of a minority groups are graduating or graduating statistically higher than white students in the country. So we in completely in poverty, in almost 100% free or reduced lunch setting. And that's in our high school population. With the idea of this research about 4.3 million international students, give or take a couple of years with COVID, with this stuff in mind, what we're looking at here locally, as well as international, with international student population, what does the landscape look like for community colleges? Go ahead and type some things in the Q&A as you start to boil some different, some ideas here. Please feel free to add to the Q&A. What's the landscape of a community college look like? Multinational, multi-ethnic, very. Thank you, Katie. It plays into a wide variety. Yes, absolutely, Maureen. We are in a situation where grab and go. Um, can I sit down and eat? Where can I go? I don't know what that is. I've never eaten anything like that. You are absolutely on. It does look like it just this melting pot of activity with variety and options. And sometimes, are they the healthiest options? Is the other part of that. Things that we must actually work through and think about as we look at the process here. Factors such as grab and go, time, right? Dietary. I'm gluten-free. I'm allergic to peanuts. I can't try that. I'm vegan. Whatever it may be that comes out to play. I'm a diabetic. I work third shift. I'm not hungry until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This is a lot. It takes me 30 minutes to get here. It's going to take me another 30 minutes to get home. Geographically, I can't do this. I have to go now. I can't eat right now. It's hard for students. And then this is my favorite that I saw from Creed that I thought was just terrifyingly accurate. It's hard for students to find food over breaks due to things like the lack of transportation, cold weather, off-campus food suppliers, right? So then they go home and they have to serve themselves. They have to find a way to serve what they can. And then they have children and other pieces of that nature that come into play with how they can do that. Then continue with that. We have the financial component. Food in and of itself. The price of food. Where am I going to put it? Do they have the space in their cupboards? Do they have the space in their freezer? Do they have a freezer? How many of you have freezers in your house, right? You have this extra space to keep food. What I'm noticing most is we have two very diverse demographic populations that the college serves here. On one end, we would say the income is drastically different than the other, roughly to the swing of $20,000 per family household. There's probably a lot more hunters on one side of the spectrum than the other. They probably do have freezers and things of that way. What do we do? What do we do about the way that looks like? And it comes down to how can you serve that? And this is the other side of that becomes your faculty, your staff, how they serve these students, and then how it looks when you're moving through even their own needs. Okay, first question, hypothetically, right? Take that in the mind frame of, what if you were put into a situation where you had to eat unfamiliar foods for all 3 of your meals every day for a year? Typical life of a community college student is at least 2, sometimes 2.5 years. Many students are on the go, as we can touch. You add in all the stressors, and here's the stressors that I could think of that I want to talk about. But in the Q&A, I want to learn from you. But I mentioned their coursework, childcare, family, work, bills, siblings at home that are sick that need care. What other stressors? Type in the chat. The best stressor wins choice of Next Step Leadership swag. And I'm excited to see what we got here. What other stressors am I missing? What stressors did I miss? And I'd like to learn from you. Financial, we kind of covered that with the other one. Okay. Communication blocks. Taronda, that's very, very, very sound. That's a great one. I just learned that. Isolation. Christina, that's fantastic. Taking care of parents and siblings both. Yeah, the sandwich generation, it's real. It's real. So there they are in the middle, sandwiched between taking care of their parents and taking care of their children. Transportation, romantic, post-trauma, relationships, housing, health issues, feeling homesick, Relationship seems to keep coming up. For our ESL population, is everything going on in the world with rising tensions in the respective countries? Yeah, it's hard to do from afar. How can I think about a sandwich right now when I'm not sure if my mother and father are going to be okay? Mental health and lack of support, absolutely. Lack of understanding and support from family, friends. I work at a medical school, and time. Thank you, Douglas. I appreciate it. Significant others. Okay, they can eat. I love it. Taking care of disabled family members. Uncertain living situations, Ryan, I'm with you. It's tough. The new normal is still here. Thank you, Lisa. Absolutely. Mental health. Securing a meal. There are not a lot of options. And we're talking about a campus specific within walking distance. Yeah, that's a great point. At one of the campuses, there's just a gas station. Not gonna lie, it's got the best ground coffee I've ever found, but there's not a lot of healthy, true options within a walking distance for some from a transportation perspective also. These are fantastic. I'm going to have to pick one. I'm going to imagine that I'm going to have to pick one. Jivi, I'm going to defer to you. The one that you did not know of that was your aha moment gets choice of next step leadership swag. See how I do that? I'm going to defer to you on the one that you feel made you aha the most, and we will write their name down and get them some swag. I will mail it out to them.
Okay.
Which one was it for you?
Let me see. I guess to be honest, it was like for our ESL population, it is everything going on in the world with rising tension in their respective countries. I think that's really
Okay.
the one, because I like that's not even something I thought about.
Yeah, not at all. But yeah, I even went into a dialogue with it and thinking about what that would look like and how you could how could you think if the person you care, your family, the people that you care about are in really bad tensions. Who was that? Who was that? Jay?
That was Jay.
Jay Taylor, you get choice. I will reach out to you after, my man. Congratulations on some next step leadership swag. Let me move forward here so we can move through. Other ones that, oh, there you go. The other pieces here, we got to know our student population, right? And what I'm listening to is a group of people that showed up to be a part of this presentation today because they want, or I'm watching different avenues where they know their student population or what's missing. And I appreciate that. But I liked this example best about Middle Eastern students in Middle Eastern countries. In knowing your student population in the sense of being able to realize, like, why do you only eat in the morning? Why, how come? Because biologically for 15 years, 20 years of my life, I've only been able to eat in the morning because it was 10, 20 degrees cooler in those morning hours. So I use that example of what it looks like to figure out your population. But based on the chat, we have a group of people that are really dedicated in asking good questions. And I'm learning a lot from you today. So thank you. Next recipe is up. This one is one of my new favorites. I'm not usually a pork chop guy, but I did try it and I had a blast with it. And it's also very quick with 4 ingredients. So you got chicken. And chicken, you could do the stovetop stuffing in a large can of chicken soup. So, layering it in a glass cookware, you can cook the chops or the chicken and then add the can of the cream of chicken and then the stuffing on top. What I did is inadvertently did an oops and did the can of cream of chicken on top. It actually came out just as fine. 350 degrees, 30 minutes. I hope you enjoy. And it's the so literally while you're at the store, you haven't even gotten to 10 items yet. You've gotten 2 meals just hanging out in the presentation today. Next up, this is my shameless plug. Jivi already hit it for me though, so I won't even get in there. But I could not come to any type of presentation without conceptually talking about and giving homework to leadership for academic institutions, without taking a look at what it looks like to run or engage students, run or engage the concept of how do we feed people and or holistically look at what they need. And this goes from a faculty, staff, and student perspective, not just one side. The ones that came up to me as I was looking at research and doing some of this, you're going to have an increase in your student population, which will equal an increase in diversity. I think even in the chat that was mentioned, in the sense that we got a lot of different people coming from a lot of different places. And what I love too is that you mentioned age. You mentioned ages, you mentioned some of the pieces here that look like that. What can we do to educate students of the changes that they may experience when they come to an academic setting? So maybe it's within orientation, maybe it's within an advising session. Is there a way to talk to them about the way that they look at food or what they're going to expect? Because they will run themselves to the point of exhaustion and dehydration about their daily life and what that looks like. Student dining experience. I think someone mentioned that there's not many options at one of the campuses. What does it look like to have options that are healthier, more focused on opportunity for livelihood and growth? Ask your students, as a leadership committee, and as a cabinet, and as individuals that are working with directors that are really aware and have maybe 250 interactions a day, saying hi, working with people. Ask. No better way than to ask the students that are there, ask the faculty who witness and see and live through that day to day. What kind of meal plans? Is there a way to prep that? Can we do that? I see we have, and money may be a hindrance even if food is available. I never thought of that before. Yes, and also budgetarily, what does it look like? So going back to, can you have opportunities for your students that way too? Can we have meal plans? I know we're not a university setting at the community college. However, is there a format that can be included that would allow for some type of sustenance day to day, in allowing for opportunity? A no question asked approach to a food pantry. Hey, grab a bag. I've witnessed powerful setups of food pantries or giving, especially with the holiday seasons, opportunities for someone to just walk in, grab a care package and be gone. Faculty, staff, student, it didn't matter. Are those types of things available? Are meals available that way? Is pasta and sauce available? Is there means for opportunity that way? These are the bullets that I picked out that I felt in an academic leadership setting or administrative setting would work or be the most impactful for my thought process. But like as we did with the other question and answer moment, what am I missing? Best answer gets choice again, but what am I missing? What else can we do? What else can educational leaders do? And this allows me to empower you to talk about and give voice to, and it's recorded, which is awesome, opportunities for others to see what can we be doing? What can leadership be doing that's different? Or if you are a faculty member, a staff member, what other things do you see with our students that could be powerful, impactful options on the college setting or the university setting, wherever you are, and allow for that? Meals or snacks during class. Okay, so like a round robin of a basket of snacks and grab one and have something. Okay, what else we got? I like that though, on the go snacks. Choice of swag, t-shirts, book bags, pens, hats. I do only, this is true though, but this is the last of its kind, and it is up for grabs. And it is cold out. It was 28 when I walked in today. It's cold today. So the last winter hat is still available. What do we got? What comments and questions do we have? We have a food pantry and garden on our main campus, a garden. Faculty, staff, and students can all sign up. Deliveries are made once a week at all our campuses. Thank you so much, Lon. Now, who mans the garden? Who caretakes the garden? I wonder about that. That's good. Oh, okay. So in the intake, Laura talks about having a question that might trigger an opportunity there. Okay. Maureen talks about cooking demonstrations. Are the resources we provide getting to the students with the greatest need? Are we including staff who are historically the lowest paid? Ooh, being mindful of how we market and message these resources is so important. Christina right now has the mind blown moment of the chat. I like it. Office hour snacks. Candace is still working with it. We just have like a quick chat and have something in survival mode. Everything's free. Oh, no, but do you guys like cultivate and grow in the garden? Like that's what I meant. It's like, are the vegetables homegrown, like in this garden? That's what I was trying to. Teaching students how to cook. Yeah, it's a lost art. It's a lost art. I think it's funny that somehow chat is disabled, but you just chatted. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. Help her out, Jimmy. There is a garden at North Campus that is manned by Store. Awesome. Awesome. Part-time gardener. Yes.
So let me just, I kind of said this at the beginning, I think, just so you guys know, when you enter into a session that is not a 90-minute session today, chat is unavailable and the Q&A has to be used instead. Only 90-minute sessions have the chat available.
Vending room and okay. All right, Jivy, you got it. Pick two. Pick number two. Who do you got? What did you learn?
Okay, let me see. Give me 1 second.
So right now we got Jay from ESL in the first one. And who do we have for number two? Who did you get your aha moment from the Q&A?
So it was the one, it's going to be Laura, right? Because I like that they have the food pantry and the garden, which is something we also have, but then they make the deliveries once a week to all of the campuses. That really did stand out.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. I really liked, and I guess I'm gonna also just make an executive decision to Laura Brannon, who mentioned the application. I think if there's an opportunity to catch him as early as hi, we're the college, welcome. Oh, you do need help right away. I love that too. So Laura, you also, so two Lauras and a J at this time. Thank you so much for playing and giving me some really good ideas. Dessert. Got to get to dessert. This one is a 2-ingredient one that I found and absolutely loved making, and watched my 16-year-old dismantle it spoonful by spoonful. Apple pie filling and cinnamon rolls. Cut up the cinnamon rolls into 4, mix in the apple pie filling, and just like that, bake for 25 minutes. You can, if you're feeling froggy, add vanilla frosting, but the grams do come with the icing, so that's what that is. But at my first bite, I went, maybe the frosting wouldn't be so bad. And now the other things, just as we're going off, this is homework for all of us, right? So I can't leave or lead a session and not say, here's some things to walk away with as ideas. And this is Amy Myers, and she has an amazing 9-piece plan here that I wanted to add. Set your routine, right? And try to move around all day, and do the things that you can, and look at your diet from a nutrient base. Are you giving your body the sunlight it needs? If you can you incorporate some type of activities that keep you going? The big one that I'm learning about, my personal challenge that I'm guilty about, sleep. Trying to get to 6 to 8 hours. I've never been able to do that, and it's something that's hard for me personally. So, and then what do you do to relieve your own stress? What kind of activities? What does unplugging look like for you? And staying grateful and being in the moment and cherishing opportunity and cherishing things, and having that gratitude that comes with life. Next up, this is a shout out to Leslie Schaefer-Ariba. She sent me to, as we were building out our conversation, and I wanted to share them with you. They are supplementals, so you guys can have these as well. These diagrams, you can put them up, you can share them, you can give them to everybody you know, but ways to wellness from a different perspective. What does it look like to pick up a new hobby? Does it change? Does it cause different twitch for you? Your different things that you're looking at, your intellectual pieces, podcasts, travel, emotionally, what are you doing to have outlets that can best serve you in your day-to-day? Your spiritual journeys, yoga, journaling. I'm actually therapeutically just holding a pen right now. I'm not writing anything, but it's one of my methods in building my own journal. Environmentally, I thought this was great. What does it look like to have a healthy living area? What does your environment look like? Having natural light available to where you are. The wallet has been a part of conversation today, of interest in many different avenues of conversation. How are you paying your debts? How are you managing your money? What does it look like to save money? Are you saving money? Occupationally, your work-life balance, your passions. What is the positive things that are taking place with your work, in the type of work that you're doing? Are you incorporating that into where you are? Societal. I think that she does a great job of trying to do that. And also, when I got this from Leslie, I started to think about it. Not only us as educators or individuals that work in this field, but what does it look like for our students? How can we share these types of tools with our students to give them the opportunity to step out of their comfort zones, be open-minded, and try some of these things? And this is further than the spectrum of food, but how do we have these types of tools available to allow for them to do that, and keep them moving in a way that focuses more on their own personal emotional health and wealth? And how do we get them there? And then the wheel is just a magnificent tool and visual to kind of work through that. I think that it allows for some of those things to be seen in a different light. We have a lot of people who learn differently and work differently, and I felt it would be impactful that way. And I wanted to offer them as supplementals for everybody, just as an added bonus to the presentation on food. Last up, what questions do you have? I think we're good on time, but I did have some questions to lead. If anybody had questions, please add them to the Q&A. We'll try to work through them. But what are our thoughts as in academic settings on dining halls and buffets? Are they the right types of, beneficial food, beneficial content for people to be putting into their systems on the daily. And also, I saw, I think Sue Cunningham said she did live in a dorm, and how was it? And she said that there was fresh fruit and things of that nature. So I just leave those there. The big one that comes up a lot is, do we dismiss what we don't know as adults? Right? So, oh, I'm going to try liver mush. Do you want any? Ugh, no thanks. I couldn't possibly eat that. Well, research says it's pretty high in vitamin B and iron and everything. Do we still dismiss things? And it's funny because Jibby's reaction earlier was, yeah, there's a couple on that list that I don't think I'm trying. So it goes back and forth with all of those things. And lastly, I'm going to say not yes, but heck yes. Is it cheaper to eat bad or unhealthy? Absolutely. When I was growing up, a bag of Doritos, the little bags were 25 cents. You get 4 of those, you're good for 6 hours. It really hasn't changed that much. Is it cheaper to eat bad and unhealthy and still have sustenance? It could keep you going. And that's what I think we're battling the most in any form of social setting is how do we be cost effective and still healthy? And what does that look like? What are you guys' thoughts? Corinthia says, cheaper and sometimes more convenient to eat bad. Sue says, some people think eating healthy is more expensive. It isn't if you don't buy so much meat and less processed food. Yes, and personally, I've switched over completely to turkey or turkey, chicken, and ground turkey for tacos and things of that nature. It's been life-changing for my diet and for the way that I eat. So, and it's, $4 or $5 for a pound of turkey versus, $6 for a piece of steak, or it just from my perspective. So I'm welcome to hearing more. But what do we have? What questions do we have?
So I hate to break up this awesome presentation, but I have to leave because I have to get our lunch one together. But there are some great comments in the Q&A area. So I do want to thank everybody for attending this awesome session. You will have access to all of the videos once the session is, actually you have access until the end of January to come back in and watch the session again and any sessions that you may have missed. So everyone, I hate to cut you off, but please join us for our lunch session today. And then I want to thank Dr. Markantonakis for his presentation for today. And also thank you all for attending and participating in the A Journey of Identity, a Recipe Worth Sharing, found in food session. Enjoy the remainder of the conference. Bye, everyone.